Okay, dudes, I don't know. I started messing up there at the end. Doesn't matter. HW here. Got another really cool tone tip. Tone tip for the modelers. Tone tip for the things. It all comes down to EQ, guys. You got to remember this. It all comes down to EQ. Today we're going to be talking about how to get bigger tone on your modeler. I want you to hear what I'm talking about because bigger, littler, focuster, less focusedy, all these things could be described a little differently, but I want to show you a trick. So we're going to use a studio style EQ. HW, does this only work on the modeler you're on? Before I go any further, I get questions about this. It's an Ember mug, and it keeps my coffee warm all the time. And I have a charger down here, and I have a charger up at the coffee maker upstairs. So I can make my coffee hot, and then I can put it down and do whatever, and then I can pick it up, it'll stay hot. This coffee I've been sipping on for like an hour, hot as it was. You see the little charger under there? It's got a little base I put it on. Keeps it hot. Anyway, let's talk about it. Okay, here's my Marshall with nothing. This is one of my favorite Marshalls we ever did. It's a 50 watt 74 purple plexi and with a non-original cabinet. But I had an original 68 purple cabinet. I have a 69 cabinet. I have a 70. So I have some old cabinets. And they don't really need to match, to be honest, unless you're a collector. But you can shoot amps a lot of different ways, right? Like, what's the Marshall sound? Oh, it's big on the top, big on the bottom. Well, I kind of, do some things with the mics, and it comes out like this. It's pretty mid, nice, you know what I mean? It's just a juicy, juicy Strat sound. And one of the secrets there is if you EQ your Marshall more mid-rangey and you kind of you really cut out some of the highs by going off the cone, you get that focused Marshall sound that I think is in so many recordings actually. With the humbucker. But Marshall does another thing, and that's that. And that is the EQ I want to talk about today. So, how do we go from more focused, this kind of thing, to this? Well, it's really about perception. So I want to show you the EQ. Take it in. It's a little bit complicated. I'm going to show you right here. But let's talk about what we're really doing here. All we're doing is we're taking 100. That's low end, right? 100 hertz is low end, and we're just bringing it up 2.5 dB. It's kind of aggressive, but what it's going to do is this. Listen to this. Listen to the high and low end, because what we got to decide is, do we want our Marshall to be nice and huge on the bottom end like it is in person through the 412, and we want all that sizzly high and the really sharpy kind of stuff? Now, some of it is going to be, cleaned up because we're going a little off axis. So, and you want to find the sweet spot. But Marshalls have, when you turn up a plexi, and I know a 74 is technically a silver panel amp, but it's true on the old 68 and 67 I have. you have this, it can be very brash and harsh. But recording it gives you the opportunity to sort of dial it in with the mics and any EQ, or maybe your Neves often really soften, I think, the top end of a Marshall pretty nicely. Anyway, because you can do a little shelf if you want. But anyway, listen. The point is, do you want the big bass and the big highs, right, and sacrifice the mids? Do you pull those mids down? What do you do? Or do you really leave that mid-range in there and bring the highs and lows down? And when you do that, it tells your ear, I've heard stuff that has a lot of mid-range and not a lot of lows and highs before. You know where I've heard that? It's been in a lot of those like Fender Tweed Deluxes. Or I've heard stuff where you take the bass out and the mids go up, but the treble still kind of stays the same. That sounds like a deluxe reverb or a Vox or one of those things. Now, those things might have mid-range pulled down or a different accent on the mid-range, high mids, low mids, whatever. But one of the features of small amps is you take that low bass away. They don't have the low grumble. So when your Marshall, I'm just going to use a humbucker here. It's just like a SSV. It's just like a PAF. So if you want to do this at home, PAF, here's a Plexi, any style, any modeler this works for. If you're on Tonex, this is literally the controls you have. It's this style. I'm taking my low end and I'm going to bring it up, and I'm taking my high end, I'm going to bring it up, because without it, it sounds real focused. Listen to that low end. Lots of mid-range. Ooh, more sizzle, more bass on it, right? That's what we're trying to get at. Now let's put that up one more time. Low end, that 100, we're going to bring it up 2.5 dB. The high end at 3,000, we're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it up 2.5 dB. We're going to give ourselves all that sparkle. Really put that sizzle and that breath into it, you know? And it... Right? That sounds now like... And this is like... You know what I'm saying? It doesn't go up the octave. That would be like this. But you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to show you the highs are coming out, you know? That's with nothing on it. But you re-EQ it, you make it sound bigger, you bring those highs up, bring those lows up. And what are we doing? We're pulling that mid-range down a little bit. We're going at 1,000, and we're going, just pull out 1.5 dB. Not taking out too much. Still plenty there. We still got it all there, man. It's still good. But with that EQ on, it's nice and sizzly, big on the bottom. Now, if you're there and you want that big Marshall sound, but you want more focus, you know, all you got to do is just hit that tube screamer, you know? I'll turn off the EQ now, so we go back to the original, but the tube screamer's still on. Hear how much more focused that is? Hear how we don't have all that low end? You know what's funny? Without that EQ on, this sounds like a pedal to me. This sounds like I had a clean amp and it's coming all from a pedal. Because it doesn't sound like a Marshall in the sense that You hear that tube screamer on it. You hear that like artificial mid push. And what that reminds me of is like almost like you took a deluxe reverb or not a deluxe reverb, like a Tweed Deluxe, and you put like a Marshall drive through it. And so you're getting the honk of the smaller amp and like maybe the Alnico speaker, just the Tweed Deluxe. And it's like, oh, but I can make it sound like a Marshall. It's like, well, it's more of a Marshall through a focused filter. That's what it sounds like. But you add that EQ back in, even with the tube screamer. And to me, that now screams Marshall. Now, again, you take that mid-range out of there. We're doing medium gain tones here. Medium gain tones, okay? Just for fun, I'm gonna use like a little, I'm just gonna up the gain. Here we go, just for fun, why not? Now we've got our focus sound with no EQ on it. Now I'm gonna put the EQ on it. Now I'm going to put the tube screamer on it. Kind of forgot the key I was in there. Actually, I forgot where my finger was, to be honest with you. But there's a reason a Marshall and tube screamer work really well together, and that's kind of the reason right there. So there you go. Which sounds bigger? You tell me. I mean, that sounds really good and really big, but it sounds focused and tight, and I think that works really well. But if you want that big rhythm, any modeler, just get your parametric EQ out, quad cortex, helix, doesn't matter. Get it out, do this. By the way, the Q on the mid-range was just normal, 0.7, like the default 0.707 or 0.777. It doesn't matter. If it does 0.7, you're fine. The Q is not going to change a lot from 0.700 to 0.777. It's not going to change much, right? You're not even going to hear it. And just a note, like, if you want the big rhythm thing, if you want that, that's great. But let's say you're doing a little more, like someone's doing that. Maybe you want the mid-range to be like. You know what I mean? You just might want to do something, you know? There just might want to be. It's just more mid-rangey. It's more vocal, you know? And then you turn it off. See every single note thing there? I let the mids come back up. I don't know really if you would do that. I think that's more like something you just do in an overdub, and then live you just be like, this is my tone, this is my sound, it doesn't matter. Probably. But you can do it. To my ear, that's how you make the sounds bigger. More bass, more treble, pull down a little mid-range. You might go, no. Guitar is a mid-range instrument. It's a mid-range, It is, but you still are a mid-range thing. You're not as low as the bass. You're not as high as the cymbals. So even with that scoopy shape that we give ourselves, you're still a mid-range instrument, all right? Don't worry about it, HW.